Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. We were wrong. Senior Justice of the Peace speaks on leaked video involving Roshane Barnett. Attorney Peter Champagne says case involving Clarendon murdered family could be in jeopardy. And later in sports, reggae girls begin qualification quest for second consecutive World Cup. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. Up first, one of four justices of the peace seen in a viral video interviewing murder-accused Roshane Barnett is speaking out this afternoon. The justice of the peace, who asked not to be recorded at this time, denied knowing how the video was leaked to the public. The JP explained that the video of Mr. Barnett was sent to an officer of the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM. However, the JPs were later informed that the number was no longer being used by the officer. At the same time, the JP admits that regulations under the Justice of the Peace Act do not allow for videotaping of persons in custody. Mr. Barnett, who is accused of killing 5 family members in Cocoa Peace, Clarendon, was questioned about his claim of physical assault while in police custody. The JP told TVJ News this morning that the regulations stipulate that the responsibility of JPs is to protect the well-being and welfare of detainees. The JP said an investigation is to be conducted where allegations to the contrary are made. In the meantime, the 4 justices of the peace seen in the viral video continue to face the heat. One of their colleagues is calling for disciplinary action to be taken against them. As Shane Masters reports, the Lay Magistrates Association of Jamaica has also condemned their actions.
The Lay Magistrates Association of Jamaica has distanced itself from the individuals who recorded and purportedly circulated the video. The association says their actions are in contradiction to the tenets of the Office of Justice of the Peace. In a statement Sunday night, the LMAJ said the release of the video into the public domain, whether intentional or otherwise, taints the impartiality of the role of a Justice of the Peace. In the 2 minutes 19 seconds video, Mr. Barnett, who is accused of killing the 5 family members in Cocoa Peace, Clarendon, was interviewed by the Justices of the Peace about his claim of physical assault while in police custody. 4 Justices of the Peace, including medical doctor Andre Cook, were standing in a room with Mr. Barnett, who was handcuffed. Dr. Cook introduced himself and the other JPs by their surnames, one of whom turned the camera on himself. Mr. Barnett was then told that the JPs were there to ensure his rights were protected. He was then asked whether he was assaulted by the police. Mr. Barnett said he was threatened but not hit. Former president of the Lay Magistrates Association, Calvin Lynn, says he's perturbed by the actions of the JPs.
Even though I'm not aware of what authority they went by, and really what they did was just out of order. When I learned of it, I said to myself, what is it they are trying to prove? Is it a publicity stunt? Is it a boastful stunt? I really can't know. They'll have to tell me the reason why they went there.
Mr. Lynn says after the requisite investigations, sanctions must be applied to send a clear message.
We can't allow, whether they're justice of the peace or whoever you might be, part of the law, arm of the law, to really do things willy-nilly.
In the meantime, his attorney, Tamika Harris, told our news center that she'll be filing a complaint with the Medical Council of Jamaica. Ms. Harris is also planning to file a complaint with the Custos of St. Andrew, who is responsible for appointing justices of the peace in the parish. Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And concerns are lingering this afternoon that the case involving Roshane Barnett may be jeopardized following the leaking of the physical examination video on Friday. Attorney Peter Champagne is the latest to react. Cordian Barrett has that angle.
A grave error or deliberate. That's left to be determined, but the prosecution may have a lot of work to do in the case of Roshane Barnett, who was recently charged for the murder of a mother and her 4 children in Cocopies, Clarendon. It comes as a 2 minutes 19 seconds video of the physical examination of Mr. Barnett was leaked on Friday. Attorney at law, Queen's Counsel Peter Champagny, says the leaking of the video could be detrimental to the prosecution's case, especially with the main suspect giving a caution statement on June 24.
There are certain channels that are there that will guide the process. Indicom is there for a reason. And if you say something to the court and then somebody take it up on themselves to do their own investigation, then what you do is that there is a contradiction that is created that is likely to impact upon whatever evidence may be given in relation to the issue of admissibility, read the voluntariness of a caution statement. So the implications are far-reaching.
Mr. Champagny, who is also a former president of the Andrew Justices of the Peace Association, says a video recording should not have taken place.
It is not normal. It is shocking. It should never have happened. And it is in breach of the code of conduct. That is my view. And it should be looked into, and it should never be allowed to be repeated. Never. So they say hindsight is 20/20 vision, but to my mind, it represents a lack of judgment in all the circumstances. And the fact is that there have been training sessions ever since the Honorable Marigold Harding was custos, Dr. Patricia Dunwell, a number of other persons. There have been training to safeguard against things like these and to be cautious.
Mr. Champagny, who was speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106 FM on Monday, says for a medical doctor to have such a video of a physical examination recorded is also of concern. He says the matter of doctor-patient privilege was also breached. Cody and Barrett.
In other news, residents of Laneltown in Clarendon are on edge this afternoon following the murder of a senior citizen. It's believed that she was killed by her 69-year-old husband, who is now in hospital under police guard. The dead woman has been identified as 67-year-old Pamela Gregory, a housekeeper from Laneltown in Clarendon. Mrs. Gregory, said to be a returned resident, was found with her throat slashed inside the house she shares with her husband in the Laneltown housing scheme. It's reported that some minutes after 7 o'clock this morning, a relative visited the house after being alerted about the murder. It's further reported that the suspect attacked the relative and a tussle ensued. The accused reportedly sustained injuries to his head. Investigators are trying to unearth the circumstances that led to the incident. It was a slow start to the National Summer School program at some institutions in the corporate area this morning. Today's kickoff comes in light of the learning loss among students due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Our reporter Sandy Williams visited Kingston and St. Andrew, while schools in Kingston and St. Andrew, and now reports.
Today is day one of the National Summer School program, which is designed to help students recover from the learning loss caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The 4-week program will be delivered using the online and face-to-face modalities. Now it's minutes to 8 o'clock and I'm at the Halfway Tree Primary School, where students and teachers have been coming in at a snail's pace. Now, classes have not started as yet, but some parents are still here, seemingly waiting to see what will happen as the day progresses. A teacher who did not wish to speak on camera says the school is still awaiting more information from the Ministry of Education for clarity. Therefore, teachers are also in a wait-and-see mode. Now, teachers and students aren't the only one coming in, as we noticed a dressmaker in the school's parking lot. Good morning. Why are you here this morning?
I'm here this morning, to encourage parents to apply for their uniforms early, that they can be well ready for the back to school this year.
Is this something that you do every year?
Yes, every year, and for the past 2 years, things have been very slow. We have actually suffered a great deal, so we are out early now to see if we can pick up where we left off for the past 2 years, that nothing was happening.
After leaving the Halfway Tree Primary School, our next stop was at the Mergrove High School, also in St. Andrew. When we arrived, the school's compound was noticeably empty. Now, we were told that Mergrove was not among the list of schools that were selected for the National Summer School program. At the John Mills Infant and Primary School, the turnout is similar to that of Halfway Tree Primary School. Now, classes should have started at 8, however, very few students are here. The teachers here are also in a wait-and-see mode.
The turnout has been particularly low. We have about 10 students here. The parents have been notified. We have made calls to the parents. We're just waiting and see what will happen.
How do you feel about summer school? Are you happy to be here?
I am happy because I get to see all my friends.
The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, has been advocating for the lessons to be suspended to allow teachers to rest, as it believes that after 2 years of disruption due to the pandemic, the teachers are burnt out.
Well, that is true. Teachers are burnt out. We are tired. We will really need to do with some rest. But at the same time, the learning loss has been great. The students have fallen behind. So the summer school in some way would help them to catch up. So, which to choose?
Reporting from John Mills Infant and Primary School in St. Andrew, I'm Sandy Williams for TVJ News.
And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when you return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. Dozens of leaders across the region arrived in Suriname on Sunday for the opening of the 43rd staging of the regular meeting of CARICOM heads of government. Amidst their arrival, newly minted chairman of CARICOM, Chan Santoki, is calling for member states to unite. Kalisha Williams has that story.
Heads of governments across the region walking the red carpet for the opening ceremony of the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Suriname on Sunday. Among them, Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister Camilla Johnson-Smith. While entertainment activities set the stage for the ceremony, the speeches from the respective leaders were the highlight of the evening. First up, Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett.
It is evident that the energy with which we have been addressing the issue of food production and security, led by the President of Guyana and supported by a ministerial task force, this has gone beyond focusing on the objective of cutting the regional food import bill by 25% by 2025, important as that is, to encompassing comprehensive actions to create an agri-food sector that will finally put our region on the road to self-sufficiency.
However, Chairman of CARICOM, Chan Santoki, says for the region to become more self-sufficient, issues of disunity among member states must be first addressed.
The reality is that we are not yet sufficiently cooperating. The reality is that we still have differences in opinion on issues. The reality is that we have everything to support each other in the economy, single market, movement of goods and persons, and connectivity. But the processes to facilitate this are going very slowly.
For instance, he pointed to ways in which the region can work together to address food insecurity.
Although the island regions do not have abundant fertile lands, they have human capital and they have financial capital. With joint investment and by utilizing modern technology, we can guarantee food security for the Caribbean and the region. And we must see this also against the background of the invasion in Ukraine and the impact of the war to the food security.
The meeting is scheduled to end on Tuesday.
Dennis Meadows, the former MP caretaker for Northern Trelawney, is hopeful that his application for membership will gain favor with the leadership of the People's National Party. Mr. Meadows recently resigned from the Jamaica Labour Party.
I feel more love in the last 2 days from the People's National Party than I've received in the JLP all my life.
The once firebrand member of the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, Dennis Meadows. Mr. Meadows has left the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, as he says he no longer feels welcomed by the top brass of the party. Mr. Meadows, who ran 3 times on the JLP ticket for Northern Trelawney, lost the seat in all elections. Now, he's hoping that his future will turn around on the opposition side.
I've applied to the PNP for membership, and therefore I will reserve in my comments, except to say my decision to join the People's National Party is for the greater good of this country. I'll have many more to say as soon as I'm approved and my membership is approved.
But while not yet receiving the approval by the hierarchy of the party, he has garnered favor with a few PNP supporters.
I've been telling him from a long time to come to the PNP and then finally make it. And I would said, Meadows, stand firm and everything is good well. Because we are right behind you, 100%, my brethren.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's now time for the Business Minute with Cody and Barrett.
In the world of business, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, is offering $15 million in grant funding to some local micro-enterprises. Individual operators in targeted communities under the Integrated Community Development Project could receive up to $100,000 each. Eligible individuals must be between 18 and 30 years old and from the communities of Salt Spring, Anchovy, Norwood, and Mount Salem in St. James, Treadlight in Clarendon, and August Town, Greenwich Town, and Denham Town in Kingston and St. Andrew. The deadline to apply for the grant is Friday, July 8. In business overseas, a chaotic July 4th weekend has spawned at least 1,100 cancellations since Friday as airlines grapple with staffing shortages and poor weather amid an abundance of passengers. More than 7,800 U.S. flights were delayed Friday, including 45% of JetBlue's operations and almost a third of United, American Airlines, and Southwest operations. Delta also saw a quarter of its operations delayed. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And we now head to a quick break. When we come back, Karen Madden will have the Midday Sports.
Welcome back. It's now time for the Midday Sports. I'm Karen Madden. We kick off with football as the Reggae Girls will face host Mexico later today in their opening group game of the CONCACAF Championships in Monterrey. The Reggae Girls enter Monday's game following a hastily arranged camp in Colorado, but have not played competitively since April. Interim head coach Lorne Donaldson concedes that not having a single practice game in the lead up to the tournament is a setback.
That's a federation problem. Those games should have been in place 6 months ago, or 3 months ago. 2 weeks, you can't find a game. So I couldn't find a game in 2 weeks. That's not going to happen. So the coach has to do what they have to do, and you have to just whatever we went out and try to do. Hopefully, it does work.
Former Jamaica international was also annoyed that he will not have players called up to the squad but who have visa issues.
This has been going on for a while. I was thinking that Jade and Satara, they have been doing this for a while. This should have been cleared up a long time ago. Satara has her passport, but we got to get final word on Monday morning. I don't think Jade is going to make it in because, they haven't completed her paperwork yet. But this has been sitting around forever.
Following today's game against the Mexicans, Jamaica will face World Cup champions the United States on Thursday and Haiti next Monday. Harborview are this afternoon celebrating after being crowned the champions of the 2022 Jamaica Premier League season. The Stars of the East defeated Dunbeholden 6-5 on sudden death penalties in a pulsating final on Sunday night. Sandy Williams has our report.
The Stars of the East defeated Dunbeholden 6-5 on sudden death penalties in a pulsating final on Sunday night. The teams had played to 1-1 scoreline after regulation and extra time at Sabina Park. Colorado Murray gave the Stars of the East a second-minute lead before Demario Phillips equalized for Dunbeholden in the 56th minute.
We just screeched it into the 6th position, and then we took it from there. We didn't have anything to lose because we weren't supposed to be in the party. But we wanted it more than anybody else. And I think this is the end result of a very fantastic season for Harborview Football Club.
This is Harborview's 5th National Premier League title. They are now tied for second with Arnett Gardens, Tivoli and Santos with most titles, while Portmore United lead with 7 national titles. Meanwhile, last season's champions Cavalier took third place after slamming Waterhouse 4-1 in the earlier game. Dwayne Atkinson scored a double for Cavalier with goals in the 61st and 70th minutes after Kenward Campbell had given them a 46-minute lead. Gadale Irving got Cavaliers 4th in the 73rd before Keithy Simpson got a consolation for Waterhouse in time added on. Sandy Williams for TVJ Sports.
West Indies Vice Captain Rovman Powell says playing the situation was key in his man-of-the-match performance for the West Indies in their comfortable 35-run win over Bangladesh on Sunday to take an unassailable 1-0 lead in their 3-match T20 series. Powell smashed 61 from 28 balls in the Windies total to help the Caribbean team post a challenging 193 for 5. Powell hit 2 fours and 6 sixes in his knock after coming to the crease at 100 for 3.
You know, the platform was already set by the captain and Brandon. You know, I think they played well before I got to the crease, so it was just an opportunity for me to advance the score, to bat all the overs, and I think I did that today.
The first game on Saturday ended in a no result, with the third and final match of the series set to take place on Thursday in Guyana. And that's all the time we have for your Midday Sports Report. It's back to you, Gio.
Thanks so much, Karen. And that's all the time we have indeed for the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.